On January 7th, 2025, a hell broke out in Los Angeles that turned into a destructive wildfire. 24 died, 200,000 suffered badly, losing their homes. The ones who survived shared devastating stories that shocked the world. Wildfires are not a new story to the people of LA, but this time, the strong Santa Ana winds and dry conditions made it even worse. A spark from the mountains of Palisades turned the lives of the people into ashes within hours. Authorities had already asked the civilians to leave their home, with nothing more but what they had on. 38,400 acres of land was burned down, destroying homes, properties, and businesses. It became one of the deadliest fires in Los Angeles' history. Despite all the chaos and tragic losses, there were people who stood resilient to the circumstances and came forward to help those in need. One of those resilient people is Aaron Samson and his neighbor Jeff. Living in Palisades, Aaron had seen other fires before, but this one was just life-threatening. He had to escape through hell, but he was not alone. Aaron lived with his 83-year-old father-in-law who had Parkinson's disease. "This feels bigger than I've ever been a part of," Samson said in an interview with CBS Mornings. According to him, he got an alert from his phone saying there was a wildfire, but what it missed was that they needed to evacuate. But this escape was no easy road, because as the town was burning into flames, they had no car at their home. Half of the town people had already left. The next hour, Aaron took rounds in the neighborhood, hoping he could find someone who could help him. The city had an apocalyptic weather, with only a few people left. And, as if his prayers were answered, his neighbor, Jeff, appeared, who he had never met before. He was kind enough to swing by his place, pick up his father-in-law, and give them a lift out of the chaos. But it doesn't stop there. Escape was far from over. The flames kept getting higher, the traffic was not helping. There was no way out, no home to go to, no town to hide. As if this wasn't enough, soon the police started yelling for people to get out of their cars and walk their way out of the town. Now, if it was just you and me, the escape would have been a lot easier. You're young, you can run, you can walk. But that was not the case for his father-in-law. He had a disease, and he was old. He could not risk his life making him walk through the entire city. The flames were not stopping for anyone, and so he used his walker and wheeled him by himself. Aaron was able to make it out of the chaos along with his father safely. But this is just one story. Hollywood actors who are often seen as distant figures face the same reality. Their homes were turned into ashes. One of those actors is James Woods, who is known for his roles in films like Salvador and Casino. James was present in the town at the time the fire broke out. But what worried him most in those moments was his neighbor's safety. In a tearful CNN interview, he described the chaos around him. Everything was burned down in 17 minutes. As soon as his fire alarm started going off and his phone alerted him of evacuation orders, James quickly took action. He took his wife, got into the car, and started driving through the remains of the city. Halfway through his neighborhood, he remembers his 94-year-old neighbor who had recently been released from the hospital due to his dementia. So he called his neighbor, who hadn't evacuated yet, and asked him to check up on his neighbor, and there they found him sitting in the room all by himself. "I couldn't just leave him there," James shared later, his voice breaking as he recounted. Among the many other stories, the ones looking danger in the face are the firefighters, and not only the professional fighters, but also the prisoner inmates. Kim Kardashian shared on her Instagram story how hundreds of firefighters risked their lives battling the flames. These men, many of whom are serving time, worked 24-hour shifts on the Palisades and Eaton fires. And what's heartbreaking is they get paid almost nothing. Yet, they still showed up from all over the country, proving to the community they've changed and are now heroes in their own right. You see, it's community work. Martin Macias and Joshua Wilmuth from the St. Helena Fire Department are from among who had fought some of the deadliest fires in California's history. They come for us. "All of these departments came up for our fires," said Martin, tearing up. As they arrived in Los Angeles, the team rolled in at 2 a.m., ready to fight. The fires were fierce near Eaton. The action had to be quick. And so, they rushed to help homeowners move furniture and flammable materials from their properties to create fire breaks. We all got into this as a service, to make somebody's day better at the worst time. You just get up and go, he added. The only hard part is leaving the family, said Joshua Wilmoth, his face a mix of exhaustion and resolve. We lift each other up emotionally. And when things get tough, we keep moving forward, because that's what we're here to do. These firefighters are facing a mixture of physical challenges battling the flames, mental toll from long shifts, lack of sleep, and constant danger. Despite this, the support from the community helped to keep them going. Justin Hayes, a firefighter from Lathrop, Manteca, was amazed by the support he and his team received. People are offering us food, toiletries, clothing, and the most incredible part? The people who lost everything are the ones thanking us for what we're doing. It's overwhelming, he said, his voice thick with emotion. Among them are also rookies, just starting their firefighting careers. One of them, Ben Orrick, was part of the California Conservation Corps, a team trained in firefighting and other emergency response roles. On their first night on the job, they were assigned to Mount Wilson, where vital communications towers stood. But just as they arrived, a new threat emerged. A fire had slipped through containment lines. Without hesitation, Ben and his team rushed out. It was so motivating, so inspiring, Ben recalled. To see them jump in, just like they had done it 1,000 times before, was incredible. It's a reminder of why we do this, because we're all in it together. Ben Orrick couldn't believe their courage. It just blows my mind, he said, still in awe of the outpouring of support. Overwhelmed with the support from the community, he said, so many donations are being given, food they cooked themselves, he said. Mom and pop restaurants are giving burritos, giving tamales, giving banh mi's. But the courage doesn't stop here. Many stories still stay hidden. Countless volunteers, families who've nothing to offer, yet stand to help. And that's not all. You see, even civilians in these crises are coming on the front line. They are going out of their way to provide the escape from the hellish fire and help those in need.
Okay, come on, go inside.
She's like, I would have died. I would have died. I would have died if you didn't grab me. Like, you saved my life. We're at the top of the hill.
Caleb Serban Lawler, a regular citizen, was out helping at the Palisades. And just as he is about to leave his neighborhood, a woman comes up to his car, knocking on the window. As the flames were at their peak, he could not see anything but smoke. Without thinking twice, Caleb moved forward to help. Her house was up on the hill, and going there meant placing yourself at the edge of the mountain. The flames could burn them, but he instantly rushed, grabbed the dogs, and helped the woman escape through the smoke and flames, all along comforting her with his words. You could see the terror in their voice as flames consumed houses around them. They managed to get to safety, and the woman could hardly believe how they made it out. But this was all when the people were caught in the destruction. But what would you do if you know someone you cherish cannot leave the place by themselves and is trapped in the city? A relevant story is of Monique Marez. When the fire broke out and evacuation alerts came in, she couldn't leave. Her 2 dogs and kittens were still at home, all alone. I look outside, and literally the whole entire mountain's on fire, says Marez, 43, who works in fashion and luxury as a senior client advisor for Saint Laurent. Then all of a sudden, you just start to hear sirens and firefighters. The sirens roared as the firefighters poured into the area. Marez works only 7 minutes from her home, but due to the evacuation, her streets were blocked. After about 90 minutes of being stuck in the same traffic, she hears the police officer yelling at people to abandon their vehicles and walk to save their lives. It's catastrophic. People were running, the smoke had already come in, and it was really heavy. And I ran towards my street, she recalls. She attempted to ask a passing neighbor for a ride to her house, but everyone was running to save their life. This wasn't enough to stop her from saving those little lives. Just then, her ex made a video call, saw the heavy smoke, and insisted she leave. You're going to kill yourself. The smoke is so bad you can't. He said reluctantly. Marez listened. She got into a neighbor's car and picked up her 3 daughters. Her heart was still with the animals she had left behind, but she was able to get her children safely to their father's home. She returned to the Palisades on the 9th of January and found out her home was completely destroyed. She couldn't save her pets. I'm praying to God that they escaped, she said with a heavy heart, tearing up. As of now, the destruction still continues. What do you think you would have done if you were in this situation? Let me know in the comments.